Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Since 1911, the Pierre Parts Store has been your one-stop shop. Family owned and operated for 4 generations, the Pierre Parts Store has served the community by providing groceries, hardware, home products, and much more, including a full-service lumber yard. Now, we've added the TPSO store to the family with the same values and service we've delivered for over 100 years. The Pierre Parts Store and the TPSO store, our family serving your family.
Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and it's Memorial Day weekend upcoming. So on set, we do have 2 people from Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office. We have Lieutenant Blake Tabor with Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office, First Lieutenant. And then we also have DJ Audemont, who is First Lieutenant and Commander of the Water Patrol Division at Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office. Thank y'all very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Okay. Blake, let me just start it off with you. You know, this is a big weekend. Of course, you're going to see a lot more traffic, both on the roads and in the water. Can you tell us, a little bit about some safety tips that can be?
Absolutely. So, of course, this is a national holiday, and this is one that is very special, I would think, across the United States. But more importantly, it's one that here at the Sheriff's Office we hold very near and dear to our heart. As many people may know or may not know, but Sheriff Tim Saunier is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, so this is something that is built into his blood. So, we feel very strongly about that. So, we're going to be celebrating just like many families are. Of course, the Sheriff's Office, the main administrative office will be closed on Monday. Of course, that has no impact on our response to the community or the community's ability to give us a call if they need assistance. So, some of the safety tips, I think it's important, as we always talk about. The first thing is alcohol impairment, right? And that is never a good thing. So we are going to have increased patrols, not only on the road, but we are also going to have that with our water patrol as well. So there will be more officers out patrolling the area, specifically looking for those types of infractions or crimes that are being committed. So, it's imperative that if you're going to a family barbecue, or if you're going to have a get together, or if you're going, down to some of our Bayou communities and you're going to go fishing and you're going to have something to drink, make sure that you're not getting on the roadway. Find that designated driver. Those things are extremely important. So, above and beyond that, remember, there's going to be a large influx of people that are going to be coming into our community. As many people know, there are a lot of homes down the Bayou areas that are owned by people that do not reside in Terrebonne Parish. So we're going to have a large influx of those types of people coming in. We're going to have a large influx of fishermen and just water sports that are going to be coming into our area that don't necessarily live in Terrebonne Parish. So number one thing, make sure that you're just being patient and vigilant when you're on the roadway. It could be a very stressful time, and then you combine that with alcohol, and it could become very disastrous.
Certainly, and I guess it's important, but if you know you're going somewhere, is that to have that plan before you get there and who's going to take you home. Rather than just waiting and trying to figure it out when you're there. It's always important to plan ahead.
Absolutely. It's always important to have a plan. And, First Lieutenant Audemont is going to talk about that as we go on, about having a plan for when you're on the waterway. And it's much like being on dry land. You want to have that designated driver. You want to make sure that you have a plan. Let's say you start drinking and you're not prepared for what's going to happen after. There is a multitude of taxi services here, and in some extreme circumstances, we've had people contact us for a safe ride. That's certainly not something that we advertise, but to save someone's life, that person's life, or an innocent driver, we have in the past given people rides.
Okay, well, Lieutenant Audemont, let me see if I can ask you. This, of course, is a weekend where you're going to see increased traffic on the water. What are some tips for the people out there that they may be getting on a boat or riding with somebody on how to be safe this weekend?
Well, one of the number one things is if you're going out, just try to have like a float plan.
Okay.
Let some family members know where you're headed, where you're going to launch, any certain areas that you plan on being while you're out there. That way, if something happens, you don't return. We all try to keep a cell phone on you, but cell phones get wet. Or battery die. At least we can contact the family when, they're looking for you that you hadn't returned. We got a general area to be looking for you. And
you always think that you're going to get a signal, but when you get on a boat, you lose that signal pretty quickly, and you don't have that quick access like you think of. A lot of people don't have the VHF, radios like you used to have. Of course, it's important to have if you can have one on board as well to where you can contact somebody from home. But if you can't, that plan to have that in place is very important.
Right. We get so many families that call us that a family member hadn't returned home and it's after dark. And we got to start looking for launchers, try to find a vehicle that would have launched just to even have a starting point to start looking for their loved ones. So if we have that information from the get-go, that puts us ahead of the game to making sure people get home safely to their families.
Certainly a good starting point as well. And I guess it's also important to have, the proper, supplies on your boat. Of course, it's going to be hot in the weekend. Have a lot of water on board as well, I would think.
Yes. You want to try to have everything you can, have some extra food or snacks on board. If you break down and we have trouble finding you or locating you, it could be several hours before, so you're going to need some food and drinks on board.
Okay. And I guess, this time you see a lot of, unfortunately, people getting behind the wheel of a boat, drinking as well. Is that something you want to talk about on the importance of knowing that, it's just like driving a car, the same limits apply, that you shouldn't get behind a wheel if you drink.
Exactly. It's the same as in a car. You're not supposed to be drinking behind the wheel. If you're in the boat, you can drink as long as you're not the captain. The captain cannot be drinking at all.
Okay. And that's important, to remember for safety, because that's how a lot of accidents happen. Unfortunately, drinking, a good time can quickly turn tragic, unfortunately. We do have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk about some more safety regulations. I think some life jacket requirements as well. So don't go anywhere. So we'll be back with more right here on HTV.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and we're talking with members of the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office. We have First Lieutenant Blake Tabor, and we also have First Lieutenant DJ Odimon, who's the commander of the Water Patrol Division. Of course, we're talking a little bit about the break. Of course, water safety, some of the things I had mentioned about, some life jack regulations that I believe you wanted to discuss, and the importance of, of course, having the right life jacket available for everybody on board.
Yeah, there's so many safety tips we could talk about, but the main one is having your life jacket. The state law requires any person under the age 16 and under to wear a life jacket in a vessel that's under 26 feet. And I try to push as much as I can to the public, as much as we can in the public eye, that I don't care the age, everyone should wear a life jacket. Because we preach, you can be the best swimmer in the world. Everybody knows the Olympic swimmer, Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps can't swim, knocked out.
Exactly.
You hit something on the water, you hit your head in the boat, falling out the boat. I don't care how good of a swimmer you are, you can't swim, you're gonna drown.
And people may think that that's something that's unlikely to happen, but that's what you see with all the deaths that happen. It's somebody that you think should be able to survive that. They're a good swimmer or whatever, but, they just didn't have an opportunity because they were knocked out or rendered unconscious.
Correct.
Yeah, and, look, I think the important thing to point out is, we can be doing everything cautiously. We could be a sober driver on a vessel. All of our occupants could be sober, but we can't account for that other vessel where the driver is under the influence of alcohol, and things happen. People start running at very high speeds across lakes, and before you know it, things happen. Boats collide. It happens all the time. I'm sure First Lieutenant Odimont can attest to how many crashes he's seen out on the roadway. So, we ask that people be vigilant, but it's not always just about your actions. It's about the actions of someone else that you don't know what they're under the influence of. And look, we've just spoke about alcohol, right? We haven't even touched on intoxicating illegal drugs, which unfortunately happens as well. So.
Yeah, and it could happen, like you said, on a wide open lake where you can see everything. People could just still not be paying attention, or it could be, coming around a turn in a bayou where it's just a blind turn. That happens all the time, where, that person is driving fast around that corner and they're up on you before you even have time to react.
And look, that's another big thing, our no wake zones. We get a lot of calls of boats riding fast in no wake zones. But what the public needs to understand is that to be responsible for your own wake, you don't have to be in a no wake zone. Whatever wake your boat causes, if it causes damage to someone's property, you could still be liable for the damages that you caused.
I see. Yes, that's certainly something to remember. You have to watch, where you're going, what speed you're going. Sometimes that means either picking up a speed to get off that half step. If you're going on half step and you have that big wake, you might have a lot of people in the water just swimming around as well. And that's another thing to account for, not only wake, but making sure to be looking out for swimmers, because you're going to have a lot of people with those water-based activities this time of year.
Correct. And look, we try to push out to the public. We do have certain areas that are no wake zones. Most people think all our local bayous are no wake zones. There's certain areas, but when you get by a public boat launch, a fueling dock, or intersections, that is automatic no wake zones.
Definitely. And of course, I'm sure you'll have a lot of calls normally that you respond to, but this weekend, of course, it's going to be, I would expect that number to go up a little bit, but just more people being on the water. And I'm guessing it's a variety of different calls, not only responding to accidents, but also, people sometimes might be using their boat for not a long time, and that often leads to getting stranded out by something breaking on it. Is that something that y'all handle as well?
Exactly. If anybody's having any trouble on the waterway in Terrebonne Parish, all you got to do is call the sheriff's office, the 876-2500 number. They'll patch into one of us on water patrol, and if you run out of gas, we'll come get you, maybe assist you with some gas, or we'll tow you in. Or if you need any other things, if you're out on a boat and you're just not feeling comfortable, whatever, and you just want to ride back safely to shore, you can call us, and we'll try to get somebody out there we just want everybody back safe home with their families.
And you make a good point about a ride back home. If you could be this time of year, getting together with some people, maybe you're not so familiar with, or maybe you are familiar with them, but you see them, they're the one that took you out on the boat, and you're out on a sandbar or something, and you see that the captain is having a few, and you shouldn't be comfortable riding home with them. That's a good time to, if your cell phone works, to pick up the phone, and you could call the sheriff's office, to get that ride home if you need it.
Let us know. Like I said, our main goal is for everybody to have fun this weekend, but also everybody get home safe to their families.
And of course, it is a weekend to have fun. It is Memorial Day weekend, kicks off the summer, but I guess doing it responsibly is the biggest thing that you.
Absolutely, it is, and we push this all the time. Every time we're here, we talk about the fact that we want our deputies and we want this agency to be approachable by the public. So we live by, there's no problem too big or too small contact us. Again, you spoke about the example of being on a vessel where someone's intoxicated and you don't feel good about it. Contact us. It's nothing you need to be embarrassed about. We want to make sure that everyone gets home safe because we all have families to go home to.
Certainly. Well, we thank y'all for coming aboard, and hopefully everybody be safe out there this weekend.
Thank y'all for having us.
Okay. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.